So YouTube always finds a way to just be the most aggravating, irritating website on earth. So let me explain what happened. I started streaming, and I've been streaming for maybe about 4 minutes, and I had two people, one of which is one of my mods, leave comments on this stream, right? And I saw it on my phone when I was looking at the channel there, but it doesn't appear on the actual stream that I have running on my computer. So basically, I can't see anything that anyone writes unless I use another device. I'm so tired of this stupid website. I was talking on was that Saturday about how every website has like its pros and cons, but this is just so stupid. Seriously, the chat is blank on my screen. So now I'm worried that if anything I write, or rather anything that someone says, I wouldn't be able to see it. Oh my god. It's not YouTube without being annoying. I don't know what's wrong with the chat. Oh my god. I tell you, that's another problem with being like a small content creator because when you get used to doing streams where people don't show up until like 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes into it, you start to get used to just no one saying anything. Yeah. So you said that's sucky. Yeah, so I like let me should I screenshot this? There's no like it says top chat and then there's no chat at all. Like I couldn't even write something on there if I wanted to, as I could usually. I'll give YouTube credit for one thing. They never stop running out of ways to piss me off. It just seems like there's always some glitch or error or issue or other thing that's acting up. And I'm really I wasn't in the mood for much of it today. So it's really irritating. Okay, I think this might support it. I just put in pop out chat. So if you write something else, Akatsuki Merchants, we can test if this thing is working or not. Because it shows where I can say something and where you've said something. It's just a little distracting to have the chat in a separate window. Yeah, yeah, now I can see it. But that's still weird that I have to use pop out to see things that used to just be on the side of the stream. This is what I said. I'm so sick of this website. Anyways, I was saying I understand if you want to leave or go soon because you're getting ready to pre-order your copy of Morbius. This is the last day before it's released on digital, so I know you're very excited to see that vampire in all his glory. So I'll be understanding if you don't want to stick around for that much longer. So I know you marked this day down on your calendar, and you've got all your things in order to make sure that when this film drops at midnight, you're there to get to see this new sight. Usually I would get upset, you go and ditch me for a movie you've seen over and over, but in this case, I'll make an exception. No, that vampire can jump off a cliff. But what if he jumps and comes back stronger than ever? What if the jump was part of his training for Morbius 2? What you gonna do? God, I'll never understand Sony. They're a very bizarre company. Because like I said, when I was a kid, I remember people saying, "Oh, I want a Venom movie," because Venom's a very popular Spider-Man antagonist and just a Marvel character in general. But I swear to you, I've never seen someone say they want a Morbius movie. I've never seen somebody say they want a Madam Web movie, and I definitely have never seen someone say they want an El Muerto movie. Character in 2 issues needs getting a movie. The hell is that? People won't shut up about that movie. I'm getting sick of hearing. Now, you know what movie people couldn't shut up about? The damn Batman reboot. I swear, for like a whole year, every time I went on Twitter, um, new update on the Batman, bat suit revealed, set photos of the Riddler costume. Like every day, I would go on Twitter and it'd feel like there was some new, pretty boring piece of news about it. That's why I was so happy when it came out because I was like, can people just stop hyping this thing up? You know? Oh yeah, that movie too. Yeah, fans are weird, man. God, I don't. But you know, I'll tell the only other movie with as much hype as that was No Way Home because, like I said, they did stuff during No Way Home I've never even seen before. They're making fake posters, um, fake, like photoshopped images. And I remember that someone actually put a fake poster at a movie theater and took a picture of it and tried to say this is confirmation that the three Spider-Man are in it. And it was really insane. They made fake merchandise where they would take like an old toy of the Raimi version of Peter and like stick it in a box that had No Way Home on the title of it. Like it just wouldn't end. And that's why like what happened during that movie, I have never seen with any other comic book film for as long as I can remember. The amount of speculations and accusations and theories, it was all over the damn place. Like I've never seen a film where people say I'm not in it, and then everybody keeps saying, "Oh, you're in it, you're in it, you're in it, you're in it." No, No Way Home was a like that. The lead up to that movie was just a show of clowns. They acted like something was wrong with them. Yeah, Marvel fans act like feral ghouls. This was especially the case when I went to see No Way Home. But I told you, like, you could make an entire documentary on how bad the fan reaction to that film was. Like, just the way they were acting and the things they were doing. They were DMing the little girl that plays Sandman's daughter from Spider-Man 3, harassing her and asking if you're in No Way Home over and over. And she kept saying, no, no, it's not funny anymore. I'm not in this movie. And every time there was some actor who did an interview and like they mentioned Spider-Man, they would say, I'm not in this. And the fans were like, oh, really? The only one that everybody believed was James Franco because he got thrown out of Hollywood a couple of years ago. He touched me. He touched me. He was the only person people believed, but he's not even in like the public square anymore. Like he did one interview last year. That was about it. Telling you, man, I saw some stuff with that movie I haven't seen for any other film. The amount of fan speculation and levels of accusing were just insane. Like I've never seen this much. There were so many people at the theater dressed like Spider-Man. I remember when I was like, I think the oldest like this is like when I was in kindergarten. It was either kindergarten or before that. I was Spider-Man for one Halloween. I remember like the costume had like the fake muscles. And I just thought that was so weird. Like he's not even bulky. Why does I don't know. It was weird. It was something. It looked like something you put on a Superman costume. Yeah, you'll never see me put on a costume for anything unless I'm doing a video or some kind of movie or some type of project related thing. You'll never see me put on a costume. It's just I don't know. It's just never something I've been that interested in doing. There were so many people at the theater. Some girl screamed, "I love you, Tom Holland," and I almost spilled my popcorn and soda. Rabid. Well, I told you there are a lot of people who don't watch this stuff because um my friend said something really insane that I mentioned a couple weeks ago the whole like he takes pride in not knowing who actors are because there are fans that kiss their a word and then he didn't explain what he even meant by that because it was just it was weird. But there are people who watch something just because they really like or are attracted to one particular actor. So I'm not surprised you heard someone who said that. Mm. Even though I do think it's weird to be in love with someone you've never met before, but yeah, that's just the nature of fandoms, man. You have people who just they're just like that. Where it gets kind of annoying is when they can't keep it to themselves. Like you can really like an actor, and then when you go to see a movie they're in, not scream their name out. Like I didn't. I've seen Defoe in like at least 10 or 12 different movies. And I swear I've never gone to any of the films who's screamed, "I love you, Willem." You know, just it's not necessary. Like I said, you can be a fan of somebody and not show out, but they do stuff like that to get attention. So little attempts at making themselves appear. Would I ever consider acting? The only acting I would even attempt to do seriously is voice acting because it's a lot easier to detach yourself from stuff. Um, because you have animators and different people that work on visuals, you're freer to just be able to do whatever you want. Which is why you can have some voice actors that are in like 10 things a year because all they have to do is read off a piece of paper and make it sound the way the voice director wants them to. The look and screen presence. No, the only time I would do any type of like actual acting in something would be something I wrote. I remember when I was in like I think fifth or sixth grade, I had some woman try to like ask. It was like apparently some type of acting coach, and I always remember one of my relatives didn't take me to like whatever type of meeting this was, and I was like really upset with them. So that was the end of that. Ugh. Like I said, I wouldn't even bother with a lot of that stuff. Just it all sounds really glamorous, the idea of like acting and appearing in different stuff. But when you start looking at some of the things I'm really not comfortable with, the fact that you have some people who become so famous that they get stalked by others. Um, then at different points in their careers, they stop getting roles as often offered to them. Um, or some of the requirements that studios will have of an actor, like, oh, you have to lose this much weight or gain this much. I'm just not. That's where it starts. The appeal and charm of it just kind of goes out the window. Because I read plenty of stories for example, about all kind of different chicks that when they were like 20, 30, all these different roles coming at them. And then when they get mid 30, 40, it just all goes off a cliff and they stopped hearing anything from anybody. So yeah, it's just not something I really would even bother with. Because even with voice acting, I wouldn't try to seriously pursue that. Because the only reason I even do any of that is it's a necessity if I'm like doing my show or something. But other than that, I don't like actively go and try to sign up for other people's stuff. No, if you look at the way some of that's, and this disturbing part is people always say, "Oh, if you're getting paid millions of dollars, why do you care about having to eat this way or gain this much or lose?" But again, some stuff I it's not worth it. So I probably will never bother seriously pursuing that stuff unless I was maybe trying to become a professional VA, like voice actor, but that's still something I don't really see myself doing. I see that that Morbius merchant stopped replying after a while because he's over there watching his favorite movie again. I actually did get No Way Home the first day it came out on digital because I really did want to just see it without hearing people scream every time I saw a clip, or in both cases of me going to see it in theaters. I just got so tired of all those damn claps. It's like, can you guys stop? Thank you. Like, we get it. You're very excited for the movie. It's been hyped up for over a year, but just act normal. I probably if I ever did seriously consider some kind of like acting thing, it would have to be a script I wrote, and which I have like I write treatments, and then that's like a little outline of something before you decide if you want to try to write it as a full script. But I remember every time I try to do one of those, I always write it in a way where it could feasibly just be, oh, you go to a couple of houses and that's about it. Like no big set pieces or anything because you don't have a budget, so you always have to be kind of limited with what you can show, what you have access to. So I said people I don't know, I'm just tired of a lot of the stuff I've seen with Hollywood. No, I'm arguing with my friend about death battles, which I think are stupid because fictional characters are only as strong as the writers want them to be. Exactly. That's why I thought it was really funny when on Twitter they were talking about um McGuire's Spider-Man could beat Wanda. No, he couldn't. It's like, do you guys not realize that even in a film like that, they established that Scarlet's the most powerful sorceress, whatever, and then she still doesn't win. It's like, do they not get that a writer can decide if a weaker character is going to be the stronger one based on whatever circumstances they put in place. Um, a good example of this would be the original, not original, but the Saiyan saga from Dragon Ball Z, where later arcs establish, oh, this person's so strong you can't even hurt them. But Goku and Piccolo are specifically said to be weaker than Raditz, so they team up to fight him, and he doesn't just completely destroy them, but their combined efforts, with the special beam cannon being stronger than either of them and him as well, is able to take him out. And then it's the same thing with Goku versus Vegeta. Unless he powers up to Kaioken, he's weaker than him. And even when Vegeta goes Great Ape, he's stronger than everybody else on Earth. To the point where the only reason they win is because Gohan and Krillin and I guess Yajirobe for 2 seconds come to save him. So when you have a story where a character's weak, stronger than someone else, it doesn't automatically mean they'll win. Again, that's why I don't really like watch Death Battle at all. I think I've seen maybe 2 episodes. It's like asking who would win, Goku or Superman. It's like, yeah, the writer decides. So he asked me who would win between Silver Surfer and the Flash, and I said, whoever the writer wants to win. It's not really up to us because we're not writing those characters. Yeah, I mean, like I don't. That's why I said this stuff is so weird, because if you actually read stories in fiction, not even like a whole bunch of stories, just watch certain stuff and read stories, you'll find that the weaker character beats the stronger one all the time because the writer wants them to. So they either create circumstances that allow them to win, or they just choose for them to be the victor. There's some other means. Like I said, I'm not interested in power level discussions and who's stronger than who, because it all boils down to the same thing. When a writer wants something to happen, they will find any way to get around the limitations they put on their own story. I think more people would realize that if they were writers, because then they would be tasked with having to figure out, oh, I just made this character really strong. How does the protagonist defeat them? What a bizarre matchup, Silver Surfer and Flash. At least we put Quicksilver versus Flash, I would say, all right, well, that makes sense. Because they both have the speed, power. I guess super speed is their main ability, but I don't. No, these matchups are just really weird to me. I get that people like them, but I've just never really been that interested in them. Mm. He kept insisting he's Flash because dude, he's faster than teleportation. Like, okay, the Flash has been defeated by a billionaire in a bat suit, but you think a literal cosmic being can't beat him? And remember, every villain that Batman goes against, with the exception of Joker and debatably Catwoman, you could make an argument why they should win because they have powers. Oh, how is Batman going to be the guy that can freeze him to death? He can dodge the freezes. He can sneak up on him, just etc. Talented writers create antagonists, which are some character the protagonist has to fight. They could be another protagonist, whatever, who are challenging, but then also there's still some way they can win, without it feeling like it's a cop out. Dude, the fact that Batman beats all these characters who have powers and he doesn't just should throw away all that power level argument just out the window. So I said I'm just not interested in that type of stuff because you do get caught up in people going, this person would obviously win because they have disability. But like I said, if it were that easy, then why did they lose to someone who has no powers? Told you when fans have a favorite character, they'll make them just the winner no matter what. Mm. No, a literal cosmic being has no chance. He might as well just give up. We might as well see him throwing the silver towel. What was I gonna say? Still trying to finish that hooker video. Most of it's done, but I have to, I guess, iron out the kicks. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of validity in um, looking at something where you didn't really have a script and then coming back to that same idea in a more concise fashion while also addressing the weird stuff people were saying before about what you had to say. He also said that the Flash could just siphon off Silver Surfer's speed, but Silver Surfer gets his powers from the universe. How can the Flash spin off the universe? Yeah, that's what I said. It's weird, man. I've been feeling really bad for the Flash these last couple of months after Ezra Miller decided to go insane. I don't know. It just sucks to this will be the first theatrical live action film Flash ever gets, and it's going to be him being played by some guy that by the time it comes out is probably going to be in jail. I just think that's really sad. This great fictional character, one of the most iconic superheroes, period, um, finally gets a movie, and it's bad enough the movie's gonna have all this stuff that's not Flash related in it. I don't understand the point of that, but he finally gets a film bearing his name, and it's going to be him played by a guy that likes to threaten to kill couples and get in the fights at bar. I think that's so sad. Somebody actually did try to say they should cancel it. That Warner Brothers should just pull the plug on. It's like, do you not understand? They've already filmed the movie, and I think canceling it would be very See, that's the problem I've had with when people try to provide consequences for actors. Actors don't work in a bubble. So when you do something to one of them, like take off a show they were in, a movie they're in, you're hurting the other people involved too. Even in his own explanation, I can still give him reasons why Silver Surfer wouldn't just get curb stomped by Flash. He's thoroughly convinced that having super speed makes you an untouchable god. You know, it'd be really funny if someone actually made a story where it's Silver Surfer versus Flash, and then Flash is just beating him and whipping him really easily, and then as soon as Silver Surfer throws in the silver towel and is like, "All right, I can't do this," you hear a voice in the background, "But I can." And Galactus just grabs Flash and hauls him off somewhere. I'm telling you, I remember when Fantastic Four 2 came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna have a movie with Silver Surfer," and then they have Galactus in it as a cloud. We're gonna save the actual Galactus for the movie that never came out because our series failed. Galactus would just flick him like a bug. Yeah, it's like does he not know that if there's any character more associated to Galactus than the Fantastic Four, it's Silver Surfer? Like they do they not understand that's like a 2-for-1 deal? That's what I said. People just they get me with this stuff. I can really picture him just going like that. No, these fans when they like a character, they will let you believe they can beat anyone. But see, that's why I never took Dragon Ball fans that seriously when they're like, "Oh, it's too late for this person." It's like, guys, you have a series that when it started, at least when Z started anyway, it very much played into the idea that sometimes the villains are going to be more powerful than the protagonist, but that's okay because the protagonists have like a trick up their sleeve or some kind of ability that can close the gap. And it's like now it's just whoever can punch the hardest or turn their hair into the 19th different color. It's just complete bastardification, if you ask me. Bastardization, I should say. Oh, what a irritating series. I don't know. This feels like a lot of stuff is falling off. In my opinion, I think Silver Surfer would win simply because he's a highly intelligent being, and it's been shown he has the ability to manipulate molecules. Like I said, ugh, a lot of times when people want their favorite character, when they try to discount the abilities of the other character. So I'm sure that the stuff about molecules didn't even come up when this guy was telling you about Flash would just destroy. That's how fans are. They're selective. I'm still laughing at all the Goku versus Superman videos. Yeah, he never brought it up. He just hyped it to Flash. Dude, I remember since I was a little kid, people have been putting up Goku versus Superman videos, like just different like matchups and analyzing statistics. Like, guys, the answer to this is going to be whatever you want it to be. Like, don't just stop. Just stop. Oh, if they've even spun it off a little bit, like I saw someone put up Gohan versus Superboy. It's like First of all, if we're gonna start playing into like the family versus family thing, it probably should be Gohan versus Supergirl because um, Gohan showed up only 4 years after Goku first appeared, right? And it was like 88. Uh, and Supergirl's been around way longer than Superboy. He only showed up in the 90s. She's been around since the 50s. So I would probably say Gohan versus Supergirl and then Goten versus Superboy. And even then, I just wouldn't bother with these matches anyway. But you get the idea, right? That like I thought that was a weird matchup since there's a character with the same type of because Gohan is a character with similar abilities to Goku. Can turn Super Saiyan, Kamehameha Wave, whatever. So I don't understand why you would skip over who was the first character that had the same type of power as Superman and also was under his label to go to Superboy. Just I thought that was weird. Don't mind me, I'm just over here hyping up Flash. Flash, Flash, Flash. You would think that was his favorite character of all time? He can literally manipulate all forms of energy. Silver Surfer doesn't need to be faster than the Flash. He's smarter. I wish I could find out how this even came up. Like, what? Like, what originated this discussion? Did your friend just put like two superheroes' names in a little jar, and they were the only ones in there by the end? Oh man. Hey, my favorite thing about YouTube is like the revisionist history. Like, oh my god, the MCU is in trouble and these are its last days. And I'm like, what makes you say that? Well, a lot of the stuff that's been coming out, we say is not good, even if it's gotten positive reviews. Like, well, I remember when Iron Man 2 came out and I liked it, and then I saw like different reviewers giving it negative reviews, and the MCU didn't end. I remember when Thor came out and I saw mixed reviews for that, and the MCU didn't end. So it's like, where do they get this idea? Because you gotta remember that they'll even if this stuff gets positive reviews, they'll still say it's bad. So like I don't quite understand what the difference here is because these guys don't take critic scores seriously, which you don't have to. I've disliked stuff that critics have said were nice or good before, but then it's like, what metric are you using to determine if this is good or not? Because the critical stuff is debatable at best. In fact, actually leans in the direction that the stuff is good. And if we're talking about revenue, you know, I mean, you saw No Way Home made what was that like $2 billion almost, or was it like 1.9 billion? So they're not exactly missing any money. You get the idea that it's just when people want to peddle a narrative about something, they're very choosy with what types of things they want to mention or bring up because they want to create a belief in the viewer or in the person watching that they know what they're talking about. So it's just hard for me to really take them seriously because I've seen this all before. A new movie comes out, they don't like it, they say it's the end of this universe or the end of this series. Then another one comes out and they also don't like that one, but a lot of people do, and it gets money, and then it keeps going and going. But that TikTok, oh, discussion came from he showed me talking about the same topic. He said why Flash with Superman didn't mention any of Silver Surfer's abilities. They just talked about how Flash fast person alive and can instantly beat Silver Surfer based on that. Yeah, I don't understand TikTok. So that's like the one social media site I've never even bothered to try and go on. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't even bother with a lot of these discussions because I just think they're so goofy, you know? Like right now, I could do a video called what do someone I'm really biased toward? Trying to think. I don't know, Spider-Man versus Martian Manhunter. And somebody will say, "Oh, he's gonna lose because Martian Manhunter is way strong." It's like, yeah, but if I read a story, I could have it to where he puts him in a room of fire, like he leads him there. You know, you that's why I said that you can't sit here and pretend that this stuff is in a vacuum. That if someone doesn't like a character, that influences not only who they want to win, but you know, sometimes the creativity that goes into making it feasible for them to win. Like a lot of people crap on Superman, but out of all of the like really strong characters between Marvel and DC, he's really the only one that has a discernible weakness. Like that little green rock can do a lot of damage to him. And it's a really good reminder that even someone as powerful as him has a perpetual crutch, an Achilles heel, you know? I'm telling you, some of the stuff I've seen people say about Superman, just the character, it just makes me want to vomit. I only care about DC for Batman. No, that's a really stupid position to take. DC is some of the most well-known, iconic fictional characters both ever made and ever created. Like, in spite of all Marvel's tried to do with, MCU Phase 4, Wonder Woman is still the most iconic female superhero, by far. And Superman is still one of the most well-known. Like, all you have to do is see that little red S, and you know that's Superman. That's why I said it's just so sad that people. I guess what bothers me is that we get a lot of Batman related stuff, and the issue I've always had is that DC has a lot of different characters, so I just keep constantly relying on the same one over and over again. I don't know, just it just got stale to me, in my opinion, but whatever. Yeah, he's the fastest person alive, but he still can't defeat Reverse Flash, and he got beaten by Billionaire with no power several times. Flash isn't that impressive. Like I said, I just roll my eyes. Yeah, people really do get on my nerves, some of the stuff they like to say. But it's just so sad because it's like I would probably because for me, my favorites from Marvel are Spider-Man and X-Men. But DC has a whole bunch of good characters. And like it's so depressing to me that in the live action department, you almost never get to see any of them except for the same, you know, particular franchise getting resurrected over and over. Like I'd love to see another Green Lantern movie or a Green Lantern show. I thought the one from the early 2010s, the CGI one was really good, and I was very disappointed it got canceled for the stupidest reason on planet Earth. because Green Lantern is actually both an interesting character and interesting mythos. All these different cores and their rings with that channel different emotions. Just if you did a Green Lantern show, it could have a lot of longevity because there's so many different lanterns. That show could have 20 or 30 seasons easily. God, it's so sad that there are so many like I don't know that comment really annoyed me because there's so many good characters from DC that have nothing to do with Batman and just get completely skimmed over. And it really sucks. I remember when they did the new 52 and I read some of the I think that was Jeff Johns, his run on Aquaman. I thought it was really good. They played all into the idea that society sees him as a joke, and it was very meta in a way that didn't feel like overly preachy. Like it kind of like took reality and stuck it into the story. I thought it was very interesting. I guess that's part of the problem when people don't read comics and their only exposure to a character is some movie that comes out every 2 years or some show that comes out every 5, 10, or 15 years. They just sort of forget about them. They're like, oh yeah, that character that I saw in that one film that one time a decade ago. So I guess that's part of why I'm a lot more fond of certain things than other people are, because I actually try to go out and read comics and see what is interesting and what isn't. I only care about DC for Batman. Imagine me saying I only care about Marvel for Spider Man. It's like that's my favorite one, but I'm not. Again, the MCU got along just fine without him for what was that 8 years? Like I said, all of these different series and universes, I have a favorite character, and I also have favorite characters, ones I like more than others. But generally speaking, because of how long this stuff has been going, you can find a decent reason to like a lot of different characters or series. Like I was really invested in that New 52 Green Lantern run where it was Sinestro back as a Green Lantern. He was like he made Hal go with him somewhere, and how I remember Hal got like disintegrated and they did something to him. So I said people just they really get on my nerves with some of the stuff they say. Yeah, some of these fans, I don't know what to do with them. But that's I think that's a good theory I had right there that because people don't read comics, if you're not constantly having a movie or a show, you have people who just don't care about it, they just forget you even exist. Because I remember, and I'm not trying to like diss them or anything. I remember Megumi said some of the effect of even though they're kind of forgotten now with regard to X Men, like X-Men are one of Marvel's most well-known properties. In fact, X-Men are still the best-selling property Marvel's ever had because X-Men #1 by Chris Claremont sold, over 1 million copies and was the best-selling comic of all time. So it it's just kind of interesting how they're not having as many films as they did before because of Disney acquiring the rights. But nobody's forgotten about X-Men. They're getting a rebrand of the '90s show that's coming out. What was that next year? Really, if you want to say any Marvel property's been forgotten, it would probably be Fantastic Four. They haven't had a movie in like 8 years. Nobody really talks about the comic runs. I know that I think Dan Snot came over and was messing with them at some point. I so if any Marvel property's been just completely forgotten or is like neglected or not, are certainly not as popular as it used to be, it's definitely Fantastic Four. Because there's a reason you got two Fantastic Four movies before an Iron Man one or a Thor one. Because back in the early 2000s, they were actually a pretty popular group. They even had their own show or shows, excuse me, because they won in the 90s as well. That's why I said I don't. It's really kind of interesting that people think that if a character from one of these properties doesn't show up in some alternate form of media for a while, right? That we forgot about them. That like the public doesn't remember them. Tell you, you have a lot of people who have never read comics that still remember all the different, Spider-Man villains, Batman villains. Um, it's just so bizarre to me, man. Like people really believe that. So loud. Just another daily reminder of why I wish I lived alone, but I guess we can't have good things. It's very unfortunate. No, I just think it's sad because I don't know. I've always viewed because with DC, yeah, I get it. People have their favorites, but I've always believed that the biggest problem with DC is they don't try to push most of their properties to anywhere near the same degree they do with Batman. So you do have some segment of people that really only care about that one particular, and it's very sad because again, Superman is one of the greatest fictional characters ever made. The archetype for superheroes, period. That's what I said. It's so that's why I was going back to my thing. I wish we had Man of Steel 2. I wish we had a third one. I wish we had a fourth one because I think that would have helped with keeping him in the public eye. And I know they're doing Superman and Lois or whatever that show is, and people are saying that one's good, but I just it really sucks to see such an iconic character just kind of fall to the wayside. Two movies in the last 20 years. It's really, really sad. And like I said, because of the like all the weird behind the scenes stuff with Flash, we don't even know if we're going to get a second one. And also the fact that Warner Brothers is just a weird company. They don't really know what to greenlit and what not to. So if you told me 10 years ago, not 10 years ago, 9 years ago, that there would be no Man of Steel 2, and it would be Cavill sitting at his house waiting to be in another movie year after year, I would have said no way. But that's actually how it's been. Just nothing. Just complete dead silence. It's really sad. I really wish we could get another Green Lantern movie. At one point, they said we were getting Green Lantern Corps, but we never heard anything else about it. It kind of just went to development hell, which really sucks because, like I said, when you have a character who is part of a group of other heroes that all have the same name and same powers, but they're from different planets and um, they all have like distinct personalities, and then you throw in all these other Lantern cores that are powered by different, emotions. There's so much potential for us for something like that. It's really sad that they haven't utilized it in any medium besides the comics themselves. That's a depressing conclusion. I'm gonna start saying some parody version of what he said every time I go somewhere. Be like, I only care about YouTube for PewDiePie. So you got this enormous website with all these different content creators. I only care about this site for this one person. And again, everybody always chalks stuff up to a different opinion. Because remember, nobody can ever say something that just disgusts you anymore. You always have to accept and tolerate all positions on everything, no matter what how screwed up you think it is. Now I can already see a Kotsky merchant getting out his checkbook. He's trying to go to the iTunes store and get his Morbius copy. So I gotta make sure I get this movie. Like I said, that was a film that I had a lot of curiosity about, and it just kind of all dissolved. Because it got announced like 3 years ago, and I was excited. Um, not excited. Excuse me. I was excited for the different things they were teasing. Like they had the Raimi version of the character in the poster, and I was like, oh, is this set in the? People are like, this might be set in the Raimi verse. And then you watch the movie, and that's not even there, and it got delayed for 2 years. And there's a lot of stuff in those trailers that is not in the actual film itself, which is why I'm hoping that someone at Sony will release those deleted scenes. Because it's always interesting to see a film that got screwed with by the people in charge of it, like late reshoots and all the rest of that stuff. Just to kind of track its evolution, like, hey, did this film actually come out the way it was supposed to be? Did you guys screw with something? That's always an interesting thing to think about. At least for me, anyway. Because I've seen that with other movies too, where they have the director's cut. And I've just always appreciated seeing alternate cuts to movies because I think having like a willful debate on which is better, what works and what doesn't, can be interesting. Oh man, just feel so bad for those Michael Keaton fans. They had him narrating one of the trailers. They had a scene of him talking to more BS, and then all he does in the movie is show up in the post credit scene, which apparently is getting removed from later showings of the film. And if that's true, that's very interesting because it shows that they're not as confident about their little Sinister Six setup as they thought they were. People keep saying this should be in the TASM verse. This should be in the TASM verse. Like, isn't it sad that you guys want Garfield to come back to be in a series like this with a bunch of villains he's never met before in films that are not being received all too well. You know what I mean? Like nobody else thinks that's kind of sad. Like, why do you want him to be in this? I can't wait to see Garfield show up in El Muerto for a cameo. Like, why? It's not going to make the movie any better. It's still not going to make me want to see it. To see him for 2 seconds? Are you kidding me? That's why that stuff is weird. Tony, that's one of the things I never got about fans. Some of the stuff they want to see happen. There was this one website I was on where somebody had a like they had a avatar of Morbius, and it was before the movie came out. And after the movie came out, somebody left a comment on their page saying it's time to change their avatar. Like I'm just imagining he thought the film was gonna be this like amazing piece of cinema, and then it comes out, and he's like, no. Now he's gonna put his avatar in the recycling bin. Tell you that film is just. I'm curious to see it because I've been hearing that stuff, but I'd like to still get a viewing, and again, just the fact that like you people waited 2 years for that. So I would genuinely like to see it at some point. At least one time just to see if it was as awful as people were saying it was. Because so many people were trashing that movie. You would think that movie was a landfill from all the dumps people were taking on it. But it's acquired itself some fans. I mean, that's why Morbius Merchant hasn't written anything else. He's too busy watching the film right now. He got through with his Flash versus Silver Surfer debate, and now he's ready to go watch that masterpiece. He's making sure that he checks that movie out for the third time today. This is his last day to play the bootleg. I don't know how anybody does it. Just sit in the theater and just have a camera just at the screen for an hour and that. I hope they have something they mount it on. Just like I don't know. I would feel weird. I remember when No Way Home was first dropped on those different like websites. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna sit here and try to watch this stuff off of there." You kidding me? Again, usually I'm pretty tolerant of bootlegs. I just when they're extremely blurry and you can't even see anything, it's like no. People do it though. I know they do. But I'm just telling you that maybe it's because I always feel like if I do something illegal that a lot of people do, but still do any, like still, but it's still illegal anyway, I would feel kind of worried about, oh, maybe some employee might come in here and see me recording this. That's always has me a little, miffed about trying to do stuff like that. I'm just imagining someone really is sitting there for like a whole hour or 2 hours holding the camera. They're like, this will all be worth it when I get paid. My ticket will make back what it cost. No, I know people do it. And I don't really have a problem with them doing it because I've always said this before. If you look at the listed price for most movies and shows and the average income of a person, if you honestly bought every single movie or show that you were curious about seeing, you'd never seen it before, but you like thought maybe this might be good, you would bankrupt yourself because some of these films cost $20, right? Which by itself you wouldn't think is like that awful. But then when you start adding in, oh, here's 5 movies, that's $100. Oh, here's 10 movies, that's $200. You know, that's why I was saying I really don't have a problem with the internet making a lot of this stuff free because again, same thing with comics. If you were to go and try and get every single issue of Action Comics, right, over 1,000 of them, you would go bankrupt. But I don't think that just because you don't have the physical copy of it doesn't mean you should never be able to read the story, which is why you have places online that have posted it before. But that's what really drives me crazy that it's as if people can't accept the idea that when you are price gouged out of stuff because how much it costs, and you want to either see it or read it, I don't really have an issue with it. I don't. I think that if stuff were cheaper, I'd be a little bit more open to critiquing this thing. But I just don't believe fundamentally that if you're curious about seeing something, you should have to pay for it. Because for all you know, you could hate it, and you're like, well, I just spent $20 supporting something that I think sucks. I've certainly done that before with different new releases that come out. But even then, it's like, again, if you look at the listed prices for this stuff, no one can afford all of these things. And then remember, if you sign up for streaming services, sometimes they'll take a movie you want to see off of there without any type of warning. So one day I went on HBO Max. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go watch Man of Steel. I go and I look on there. I'm like, where the hell is the movie? It's been removed. One day I went on Disney Plus to go watch the what show was that? I think it was the '90s Spider-Man show, and all of a sudden it was removed. So I'm just saying this as an example of how you can't expect someone to pay for every single thing they see. And I think a lot of the people that actually get upset at someone for watching stuff for free are just they're just trying to grandstand. Because again, it's not easy to just see everything you want to see and also pay for it. A lot of times there's cost involved that a regular normal person can't measure up to. It's just not as simple as people like to make it seem when they want to get on their high horse and lecture you about what you should and shouldn't do as someone that wants to view these things. It's not that simple. Contrary to whatever they're saying. So I said, people are crazy, and it all goes back to that unrealistic fantasy. You know what does tend to happen is if I see something for free the first, like, well, let's say when I was a kid, I saw a show for free on my TV because my parents paid for cable. Because I liked it back then, I'm actually tempted to go and buy it as an adult. Or, um, even now, like I see something for free on TV, I like it, I'll go buy it. There are people that do that who when they see something for free the first time because they liked it so much, they're like, "Hey, I want to get a copy of this. This is good." That's why I said people don't really think when they're so quick to castigate someone over this stuff. They just want to feel really good. They're like, I think you're pathetic because you don't like what I like. It's okay, 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 all right. So what? People definitely do it though. They definitely expect you to just pay for everything. Even stuff you don't even know how good it is, it could suck, and you'd be like, "Oh, well, I gotta go pay for this." I just don't think that's necessary. People definitely do it. Oh, I'm sorry for the interruption. I apologize. I told you the funniest thing to me is speaking on the phone loud and then putting it on speaker, so that now we have to hear the other person be loud as well. Oh my god. It's all really annoying, but it's something I'm unfortunately very used to. I don't know. I just think a lot of stuff is more hard than it should be. And again, I apologize for if you can hear that in the background. I really am sorry, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'll try to talk a little bit louder so I can drown it out a bit. But it's a million words per second. You start to think you're living from with Blur from Transformers, which says a lot of things really fast and just really quick, like that. Um, if I were to say one more thing, I think probably I'd be a lot less inclined to get something if I saw it and I didn't like it. But again, that's still a plus for whoever makes something that's good because then you can go and support it. If they make more stuff, you'd be like, all right, well, this person never lets me down, so I'll go and check this out and pay for it. Which already happens when a movie gets released theatrically. People pay for it and they've never even seen it before. I remember I was mentioning how when I was at the theater with my brother, he bought some drink and it was $5, and I just thought it was insane. It was like, you know, we could have. I was mostly upset by the fact that he chose to get a drink we literally have at the house. But I was um I was having this conversation. I said, it's funny how theaters, when you buy the ticket, pretty much anything you do in there outside of causing a disturbance is valid to them. Like if I go in there and I buy a ticket, I bring my own drink in my pocket, or I don't know, a sandwich, or burger, whatever, from across the street. They don't really have an issue with that at all. Like I just that's why I think it's so funny that people actually sit here and try to make a big deal out of, you must get something from the theater. It's like the stuff costs too damn much. Literally the food my brother ate cost more than his ticket. Popcorn for $7, a drink for 5. I mean, like that's insane. And his ticket was like $8. So yeah, I thought that was really, really crazy. And I will every out of the last 6 times I've gone to see a movie, I think I've only bought food from there once, and it was some popcorn. And I probably will never do that again because of how much it cost. And I got mocked by one of my relatives. Oh, okay, grandpa. It's like, but it costs what, like $5 for a drink? Again, you can get mad. You can say I'm whatever, but I just don't understand why you should have to pay that much for a drink. Free refills or not. It's just stupid to me. And that's a really like useless perk too, because if you're in a movie that has no commercials and you want to see the whole thing, you're not going to keep getting up to get free refills. So it's not even like that's a really useless thing to even have on top of your stuff. You might refill that maybe 3 times when you're there, drinking all of it before the movie starts, and then drinking all of it by the time the movie's over, and then filling it up for the road. Like God, I can't believe people actually expect me to pay for that. God, that's why I said that like there are unrealistic fantasies that people impose on you that are almost like jokes like, "Oh, when you go to a theater, make sure you get your sibling food that costs more than his actual ticket to see the damn movie. Oh, if you wanna see a movie or a show that you don't know if you're gonna like it or not, make sure you pay for it so that they can get more money to make stuff you don't like." God, like, I just it's really insane. But, hey, we've been seeing insanity pretty much, you know, nonstop for the last year or so. I mean, who could forget working somewhere for 5 days, and on your first day of doing stuff in the kitchen, the manager threatens to fire you, you know? Who could forget working somewhere for 2 weeks, and then because some people write some bad reviews on a goofy website that most customers don't even use, they're threatening to get rid of you, or they get rid of you over that. That's why I said I've always felt like, and people will never admit it because it's too controversial. There is a thing about society in general that seems dedicated to making people as miserable as possible. Because it's like you go online, you have trolls, you have people that write nasty stuff, whatever, but like actual screwed up stuff, like, oh, you want a livelihood, you want to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be a perfect employee within 1 week or 2 weeks, or we're getting rid of you. If you make one mistake, you've signed your death warrant. It's like you put that on top of these people that want you to pay for everything you watch, even though nobody can afford all this stuff usually. And it just all seems like it's based around this premise that we have to look for any way to make things harder than they should be or harder than they need to be. That there's something inherently problematic about trying to make other individuals actually, especially men, have a decent time, enjoy stuff, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, heck, I remember I was trying to screenshot because it's known I like to draw. I was trying to screenshot No Way Home after getting from the iTunes store, and it's like it's always whenever you try to screenshot or I guess screen record a movie that you bought yourself from the iTunes store, it puts up it looks black, like you don't see anything. I thought to myself, that's really insane. So I bought this movie and I'm not allowed to screenshot it. I have to go on some goofy website that's hosting it to take screenshots, really? Again, stuff like that I just think is insane. Like why does it have to be so difficult just to do something as simple as take a picture? Because a picture is like um if you use screenshots from a movie and a video, it's not copyright because it's fair use. Stills are not considered, and even clips are not considered like applicable to the same restrictions, even though there are some places like Disney does like to mess with people that make reviews of their stuff when they put up a lot of clips. They love doing that. But what I'm conveying to you is it's a fact that screenshots by themselves are not considered a copyright thing, like something that infringes on the rights of holders of a respective work. So it's really bizarre to me that after I legally pay for something, I can't take a picture off of it. I just think that's nuts. Imagine if you got YouTube Red, right? Or what's that, YouTube Premium, which takes off all the ads and you just watch videos, with no ads. Imagine buying that and you try to take a screenshot from a video and it's like a black screen. Oh, we don't allow people. It's like, but I paid for this. Like I just that's why I said, man, this stuff never gets any easier. It's always something goofy or ridiculous or insane. You bought a movie and then you can't even screenshot the film. You're not trying to pirate it. You're not trying to download it on some goofy website. All you want to do is just take a screenshot from it. And that's like a thing that they're blocking. It's like it's a still image. What? That's why I said when these films get put on some website for free, right? I really don't feel anything for these copyright holders because like if you're so hell bent on making it to where I can't just look at a screenshot of this stuff, like that's why I feel nothing for you because you limit my enjoyment of your work. So I think it's only fair when you don't take in the totality of the money that comes from that thing being enjoyed by people. But look, I'm gonna get off of here. I've been going for almost an hour and a half. Hungry. I will stream again. If not on Thursday, then definitely Saturday. So thanks for showing up. I'm sorry the stream had some issue at the start of it, although I think I fixed it a little bit. And have a good rest of your Monday.